I think he represents the poor man's voice in cinema. He's the meek, weak, thin, poor. He's also not just weak physically. I think he's represented as mentally weak as well. He doesn't play the Joker who's smart like they did in Shakespeare's time. They sort of had these characters where they were like apparently they were dumb and they were silly, but they were wiser than the masters. But no, he plays someone who's truly he's mentally weaker than other people in the society. And he doesn't have any wisdom, but somehow in this dark comedies, I think most of his stuff, it's comedy, but
it has truth to it.
Yeah.
What I'd be interested in doing is the research and the field production. So if that was anything from setting up cameras to interviewing people to doing a bit of acting, that's what I'd be interested in doing.
Yeah, it's very interesting to go to a museum and study the social and historical context you grew up in. He interacted with. What did you want to change?
What sort of research would you be interested in doing?
Just research him and the mental health side of it as well. I'm studying psychology, so I find that quite interesting. The era and the period as well. His period that he grew up in, his location, what it was like for him growing up on a day-to-day basis.
Maybe we could possibly go through orphanages and see the things of it. We speak to people, see what they've been through, and see if maybe we can make light of the situation. Maybe check for the percentage of how many people actually go and care, and maybe the particular reasons why, because obviously different circumstances, and see how many go in actually for maybe their parents having mental illnesses or maybe both, or maybe check for maybe parents that have abusive of alcohol, something like that. I'm interested in film direction, so I like staging. I focus on mise en scene basically. I like everything in front of the image. I like to make sure it's perfect, and I always view the image straight after, because little things, when you're editing it, you can notice it, but you won't notice it when you're there. So I like to constantly go back to it.
I just like being on the I like being the actors in the film. I like to see my face when we watch films back. I do like filmmaking, like the general process of it. But yeah,
we'll go through the films and see the traits in it. So maybe the types of music let's use, maybe the shots or angles are maybe a bit different. Maybe there's the way maybe lots of his shots are handheld rather than steady shots. So we are fully inspired by this rather than taking our own bits out of it.
I'd be quite narrative with it. Quite narrative.
I think it depends on whether we want to do a documentary or a story.
So let's just decide on one. Let's just run with one.
What are you guys thinking? What?
Should we just say a story? Let's say a narrative. If we're going to develop a narrative, what would...
I agree with that, because I think a lot of Charlie Chaplin's work of fictional and dark comedy, he narratives by himself. I like the idea of doing something like him.
I think I'd just leave it as a photo collage, so then maybe the audience could just interpret it however they like. It'd make it more interesting.
Let's see where we come from, yeah.
We could also perhaps make still images. So we can make still images, and use them as also our interpretation in the project.
We could also try taking snapshots of each picture, and then maybe assimilating it into some kind of montage with some classical Chaplin era music.